I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I have to use the name of Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married a Childers. I was kidnapped in 41 and brought over to Molson, Alabama, near what became NASA in Huntsville. And there's a reason for me mentioning that, but so that's the reason I still don't have my real name back. But what I wanted to put here, I didn't find out until 83 my real name, okay? And about my kidnapping. What I wanted to put here was that I wrote a book, a medical malpractice book about mind control. Larry Flint. I used Hustler magazine because people know Larry Flint was shot, etc., in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Uh, and his attorney was killed, and of course, Mr. Flint's been in a wheelchair and paralyzed for all these years, just like Christopher Reeves. Was that his name, Superman? What I wanted to put here, though, was the use of mind control in this. And I want to mention John Hinckley Jr. was just released from St. Elizabeth's Mental Hospital in Washington, D.C. And after all these years, when that happened, 81, and the attorney said that his illness, mental illness, was in remission and he was safe to go, not a threat to people. My point is also he was released to his mother's care in Williamsburg, Virginia. He showed the beautiful gated homes there, but the people weren't welcoming him in. People, let me just say this. People have to know there's something wrong other than what they're being told. When I've told them, they didn't want to hear it about mind control. Done in patterns, is these that I speak of can be proven. John Hinckley Jr. has paid for crime he didn't commit. He was programmed. And illegal so called medicines given him were torture. He was never mentally ill. The programming just stopped, all right, of him. He had programmed mental illness to make it appear that way. When he shot when John Hinckley Jr. shot Reagan, you go back to the night before, and he and his family, well, his family were friends of the Bushes. And here's what I want to say: the father Bush Sr. was over the CIA. He was CIA director at one time. And a point I want to make here too is the continued people that have to know. If they don't, they're not qualified about a weapon called mind control. My God, it was in Congress being investigated, and I believe 53, and they got a slap on the wrist, and that's just about the last, except you can go to Google and Google it and see loads of information. And yet, Hillary Clinton, who was over, well, I mean, her husband was governor, and then she was first lady that she touts. Um, and then Secretary of State, and she doesn't know about mind control. She doesn't believe in conspiracies. What's wrong with her? But anyway, John Hinckley Jr.'s family had dinner the night before with the Bush family. And the next day Reagan was shot, and Brady was shot, and thus the Brady bill to get rid of your rifles, your guns. So now then, Hinckley is convicted and called mentally ill, just like a lot of these murders being committed using mind control. And the victim is just that, a victim. The worst kind of victim, really. Uh, and I guess the way that their attitudes, the people's attitudes, they don't want to hear it. They just want to blame. It's not just the place, the way people were acting on the video or on the news that I saw, learning of his being released. They don't want to hear about this. They're not immune to mind control, as neither are their children. Now then, so all that happened was the so-called mental illness of John Hinckley was not there. He was programmed, and the programming um, was stopped. And they can start it back, but it was stopped. It had nothing to do with with an illness that was in admission. The programming stopped. Now I want to go back to Mary Welcome, who represented uh, Wayne Williams back in the murders in Atlanta of the black children. And I'll say it again that the mayor of Atlanta was Maynard Jackson. He and police commissioner, the black police commissioner Lee Brown, went on camera on ABC morning show back then, the network out of D.C. or New York, and stated that Wayne Williams didn't commit the killings. It was the mechanism used. Well, they didn't go any further that the mechanism was mind control. Now then, just a little bit later, Wayne's arrested and convicted. Mary Welcome's his attorney. And later, before the trial's over, it's handed over to an attorney, Marcus, who was a former attorney with the CIA. So he's in jail, Wayne's in jail. I want to insert this. You have to know the connection with the carpet and the lab results, okay, that were sent to Alabama, by the way, that convicted him, the strands of carpet. Now then, I was in Huntsville. This is after they tried to kill me, April Fool's Day of 80. Illegally taken back to Huntsville. And I had worked for the district attorney in 80, and the condition I was in, it was a miracle I was alive. So this is on a little later. I'm working for Doyle Duke at Golden Triangle Publishing. And by the way, it was they were former CIA. Mr. Duke was a good man, let me say that. But I'm there, and I call Mary Welcome, and I thinking I'd never spoken with her, and I thought, well, she's not going to believe me. I got her on the phone. I mean, she was put on the phone immediately. And she says, but I do believe you. And she says, I'm going to send an attorney, one of my attorneys, over to get a deposition. Well, never happened. I was almost killed again, and she was replaced as attorney for Wayne. Now then, I want to get to Lee Brown. He was a police commissioner. And I never thought anything about Lee Brown other than he was a good guy back then, and I still don't know. But I am going to give this information. Lee Brown went on, left Atlanta, went to Houston, Texas, the Space Center there, if it's got anything to do with it, but it is. He became police commissioner, I don't know how many times. He became mayor at least once, maybe twice or three times. He did also become drug czar, which is way up there, in the Clinton administration when he was president. And you're going to tell me, I mean, here you've got Lee Brown admitting on network television that Wayne Williams didn't do it, the murders of the children, that it was a mechanism used. So, and then Wayne's arrested and convicted. So I guess that's all I have to say, because the press needs to do their job instead of deleting the news and creating falsehoods, which is what it amounts to when you delete the truth, as they have. They need to do their job. All right. So I guess I'll let this go at this, because people allow this to happen. I've been there telling it, and the hell I've gone through, and I really have, and I still am. And they just don't care. I don't know. Part of it's because I'm British, and part of this involves what's happened to me, and they don't care. And you couldn't have chosen a better weapon than mind control. It's invisible. The ones I'm speaking of were deliberately done. I don't want this to go off. I'm showing my bed. Sorry, having problems. I've put that up too, and believe me, it's not funny. I have to laugh to try to get through it. Um, Talk about the law being broke about against someone, and it has against me. It's still going on. So I guess that's about all I had to say. I think that what a FBI agent out of Atlanta said to me a long time ago, I think is maybe before, no, I don't know, that time, because they issued a letter, FBI investigation. It was issued through U.S. Attorney Harper out of Atlanta, who said ongoing investigation, national security involved. And I'm going to leave it at that. People let it happen. This um, FBI agent said to me, he pretended to yawn like he was bored, and he said to me, "You know what people do with what you're telling them?" And he said, "You bore them. It's not that they don't believe you, but it's when it happens to them that they care."